only you can do the job. There's some situations where only you can walk the path. There's some situations where only you can shoulder the weight because it's part of what you do. It's part of your life path. But there's other times where you really do need to ask for help. And what makes it difficult to ask for help? Well, things like people holding stuff over your head. What makes it difficult to ask for help? Things like people seeing you as weak. What else? I think the biggest reason people find it difficult to ask for help is because someone has held something over their head or something like that in the past, and they don't want it to happen again, so they rather just struggle. And I used to have that mentality. Let me pull my black scarf down a little bit. Good afternoon, Black Caribbean gal. We're talking about doing it all, carrying the burden, and the need to delegate and release, okay? And here's the other space that this card is speaking to. It's speaking to shouldering other people's emotions, emotions that are not yours, right? It's normal to empathize. When you empathize, let's talk about the difference between empathy and sympathy. I like where this is going. So it is said that when you sympathize with someone, you are seeing their story from your point of view. You tapping into your own pain, right? And you are saying, I understand what you're saying, but you don't really understand what they're saying. You understand what they're saying as it relates to you. And usually when you sympathize, the pain gets too hard to bear. Usually when you sympathize, you end up looking at other people's trauma, other people's pain, and walking away with it. You prefer to do it all, Miss Beamer? So what is it going to take for you to release some of something? What area can you release? That's a good question. What area can you find more release? Let more go. Take more off your plate. That's a good question. Where can you release something that is no longer important? Maybe it used to be important, but it's not important now, or it's not as important. That's a good question. Hey, D-Man, happy day, happy day. So when you sympathize, again, you are looking at someone's pain through your own activated lens. When you empathize, you hear what they are saying, how they are feeling, and you don't have to feel that. Okay, so it is a myth that because you're an empath, you have to feel other people's pain. If you are an empath who sympathizes, and the majority of the way that you connect with other people is through sympathy, then pain is going to be your dilemma. Every time you talk to somebody, every time you hear a story, you relate it to your own self. You see it through your own eyes. So if you wanted to be able to help people, to be able to hear what people have to say, you need to come away from sympathy. Number one, recognize where you need healing, because those parts of yourself that are speaking up saying, me too, me too, me too, they need resolution. Those parts that are agitated and triggered when people say things, those are the parts that are saying, hey, look at me, I'm in here, I need healing. And what is healing? Well, anytime anything has happened, it affects and influences the way that we see the world. You know, if you ever just be real quiet and listen to people talk, you can see how they see the world. And you can also tell where there's pain and they're looking through the pain. Because the way they describe the world, the way they describe other people's motives, intentions, and actions, it's painful, it's pain related, it's negative, right? And so you can listen to someone speak, you can listen to yourself speak and hear where you need some more healing, where you need some more resolution. Also, anytime anything happens, your soul generates questions. That's part of the lesson. You got to know what those questions are. What question is your soul still asking to this day? You need to find answers to those questions. In some spaces, when you find the answer to the question, your soul will soothe and settle down and no longer come back up. Or sometimes you answer one question and then a load of other questions come. This is the perpetual process of healing. So going back though to this doing it all, Where are you doing it all? Now, I'm not talking about where you have to do it all, but where are you doing it all and you really don't have to? What can you let go of? What more can you release? That is a good question. Ashe, let's pull another card, shall we? Are y'all listening to this? Is it giving you any ideas? Ashe, here's another card. Okay, so this card is about authority and about truth. Within your world, within your life, within your belief systems, within your emotional realm, your mental realm, your physical realm, you are the authority figure. You are the yes and no finality of it all, nobody else. So even when you are in relationship to other people, confirmation Ashe, even in relation to other people, you can't say other people make you do anything. We know this. Other people don't make you feel anything. You don't have to be the one to do this and that. No, you don't. You choose to be that because of how you see the situation. And if you recognize that, you can see that nobody's really ever using you. Nobody's really ever manipulating you because you are acting of your own volition. Okay, unless there's some severe brainwashing going on, which is usually not happening, right? And even if it is, if you are standing in your authority seat, they can't do it. Okay, we are responsible and accountable for our own emotions and feelings. Absolutely. Now, people outside of us can help. People outside of us can listen, but when you get to the point where you need someone to start or stop something for you to feel better, you have become dependent on their actions, and that's not going to be good for you. So it's good to speak what you need. It's good to ask for what you need. It's good to share your desires with other people, but when they are not reciprocating, when they're not giving it, when they are unable, right, or unwilling, then you got to be the authority in your own world and ask yourself, hey, Thug Brat, and ask yourself, what do I need here? What can I create here, right? Because never at any point are we at the mercy of someone else's desire to change or not change, to do or not do. Never. It's a good idea to make that space available for the people around us. That's a good idea because that's called openness. That's called emotional availability. But at some point when the person is not doing the things, right? Or they're not offering the things, or they're not changing, they're not showing that it's of value to them, then you got to make some decisions for yourself. And the decision is not stay there complaining. The decision is not stay there crying. The decision is not to stay there begging. That's not the decision. The decision is talk about it and make informed choices for yourself. Now, that person probably isn't going to like it because they benefit when you complain and beg and be dependent on their answers and responses and changes because it keeps them connected. Some people have a toxic tendency to want to keep connection through negativity. Some people do, right? And the moment you make a decision, an autonomous decision, they can get upset. Right? It kind of jolts them out of their reality of the illusion of control, right? And causes them to see there's another world out there. And they will blame you at times if they're unconscious because you made a decision for yourself. But at the end of the day, that's what we all are doing. That's what we all are here for, is to make decisions for ourselves, for our well-being as the authority. And whether people like it or not, whether people say yay, nay, or otherwise, you are the authority in your world. So here's a question. Where do you need to exercise your authority? Where have you come into a powerless energy of complaining about something someone or other people are doing? Where have you brought yourself into a negative space where all you do is see the negativity and talk about the negativity, complain about the negativity, you contract against the negativity, but you're not making choices for yourself? We are the authority in our own world. We are autonomous beings. We are sovereign beings. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe. Next. So, at some point, you got to say, hey, I have to shift something. I have to, right? For my well-being, for my mental well-being, for my emotional well-being, ultimately my physical well-being, right? You can't be tussling and going back and forth with people. You got to start changing. The change begins with you, right? But here's the trick. Don't change toward everybody, right? Because when you generalize that change, you start messing up. You start treating other people like the people in the past have treated you. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is make the shift with the people who need the shift. You need to make the shift with the people who deserve the shift. You need to make the shift for those people, but don't you go generalizing that out, because people do that all the time. They feel hurt, they feel bothered, they decide they're not going to do this or that, then a new person comes in their world and then they treat them bad. Or they treat them as if they're doing the things that the other people were doing. We got to stop doing that. Treat the people in front of you as necessary. Govern yourself accordingly. Don't make a blanket statement, because that's a recipe for disaster for you. Ashe, I'm going to pick about 3 more cards because that's what's in my mind. Ashe. I love this card right here. This card is about checking in for alignment. A thing that was aligned yesterday might come out of alignment today. Think about your car. You ride over some bumpy ground long enough, you're going to need an alignment. Why is that? Right? Because the bumps in the road have shifted the parts of the wheel. And so you need to do this in your life in every area. Check in for alignment. Thank you for the gifts. On your job, is this still aligned with what I want to create? Is this still aligned for what I desire? Is this still aligned for what I need? In your relationships, is this still aligned? Don't you know relationships come out of alignment? And then sometimes we can bring them back into alignment, but sometimes we need to part ways. That's a question. But you got to check in for alignment. And then you shift and change every day, with every moment, with every situation. So something that used to be aligned last month may no longer be in alignment. That's why you need to talk a lot in your relationships and not take for granted. You have a changing being on your hand, an evolving being on your hands. And you're sitting here thinking that you got them, you know them, you got them pegged. You already know this, you already know that. And guess what? You do that, and the moment you do that, you find out they have shifted. And then you want to be mad about it. Be like, they didn't tell me, but you didn't check in for alignment. So here's our warning, our admonition to check in for alignment. Check in for alignment with your children. Check in for alignment with spirit. Thank you, J Mac. Check in. Is this still aligned? Sometimes you get in an autopilot program and you keep doing the same things over and over again every single day. Is it serving you still? Is the way you speak to people still serving you? If you still have the same thought processes that you had last year about the same things, is it still serving you? You need to check in for alignment. Are you still complaining about the same things you've been complaining about? You need to check in for alignment. Are you still receiving the same hurtful messages over and over again from a certain person or group of people? It's time for you to check in for alignment. Maybe it served you back then, and maybe it no longer does. But whatever the case is, you need to check in. Align. Is this aligned for what I want to feel? I'm glad it's been easier. Yep. Is this in alignment with what I want to feel? If the answer is yes, beautiful, keep doing it. But if the answer is no, what needs to shift? What needs to shift inside of me? What needs to shift outside of me? And sometimes when the outside is not shifting, a lot of times when the outside is not shifting, you still need to shift inside. Some thought processes, some ways of being that might lead to a decision, but you do need to shift. This is called autonomy. But so many people are used to being powerless that they don't want you to shift. They don't want you to change. They want to stay how they are and you stay how you are or accept it. You ever met somebody who wanted you to show so much grace and so much acceptance, thank you, Thug Brat, to them, right? At the expense of your own mental well-being, at the expense of your own emotional well-being. They're asking for patience, they're asking for forgiveness, they're asking for grace, not realizing that you got needs too. You need to make decisions and check in for alignment, especially when you're a healer, when you are a leader, a mother, a guide. People come to you and they really try to place a lot of pressure on you to understand them, to move a certain way with them, because they are at a disadvantage in some kind of way. But at the same time, you need to take care of yourself. So yeah, show grace. Yes, show acceptance where you have it, but not at your own expense. Not where you're draining yourself. Not where you're going down, trying to help them. Absolutely not. You need to check in for alignment. Sometimes relationships are better as friendships. Sometimes relationships are better as friendships. Somebody needs to hear that. Sometimes relationships are better as friendships. But we fear that because a lot of people don't have value for friendship. A lot of people don't know how to heal. So they're like, we need to be together or we not. But I can't be your friend. I think we need to mature in that area. Right? Because you see this all around social media. I think we need to mature because if you really value the person, can you align with the tenets of friendship? Somebody who doesn't want to be your friend, let me tell you what I think about that. If they don't want to be your friend, I have a question. Are they being your friend in the relationship? Do you feel that? They don't want to just be friends, but they don't want to do right in the relationship either. Help me make that make sense, right? So anyway, check in for alignment. That was for somebody, I don't know, but you got it. I got one more card and then I'm getting out of here. One more card and I'm out of here. Make it make sense. You don't want to be friends, but you already not my friend in the lovership. So look like we need to build a friendship. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Last card. This card is about overspending and greed. Are you overspending? That's a good question. If so, what are you overspending on? Where could you funnel that money? Where can you reroute the money into something that makes sense? Are you overspending your energy? Right? I think we need to do constant energy assessments, because when you're drained, when you're moving into frustration, when you're moving into depression, when you're moving into fear and worry, all of these things that take away from your mental wellness, you are overspending. Are you overspending attentional energy on something someone said? Are you overspending your energy in a situation where there's no refilling, right? Where are you overspending? Overspending energy for sure, okay? So choose one way for the next 7 days to stop overspending. Just one way. I'm going to stop doing this. Just take that out. Doesn't have to be big. We're not trying to do a big overhaul haul here. That's not the nature of what the card is about. It's simply about making a different choice. So maybe you usually order 2 sandwiches, get 1. Maybe you usually go and buy a certain thing every day. Do it 3 days or 4 days. Maybe you normally frequent a particular place twice a month. Go once a month. Small changes to big results. Okay? And that's it. That's all we got for today. I'm glad we used the cards. Those cards were interesting to me. Do y'all have any questions before I go? Any questions before I go? I'm getting hungry now. It's time for lunch, and I welcome hunger. Gratitude, Ashe. Where are you overspending? Are you overspending time on something that really isn't beneficial? Are you overspending time on something that isn't helping you? Are you overspending time, money, energy, attention, effort? Are you overspending effort anywhere? Right? We could break this down into smaller and smaller pieces. Of course, we know money. Are you overspending money? Are you over giving? All of that. So choose one thing to release, to let go. Pull one thing off your plate. Do it one less time, whatever it is. You know, if it's communication, try to see how you can come out of the drain, right? If it is attention, what can you put in place of that thing, right? These are questions. I feel like advocacy is beneficial. However, it's pulling away from, I see. Balance. Because self-care helps you be in advocacy, right? So what does self need more of? Good questions. All right, y'all. So do you have any questions before I go? Because I'm about to start homeschooling. And a few things. Friday yoga, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to do yoga with me, Fridays are going to be a yoga flow. Wednesdays are time to stretch, but Fridays we're going to do an actual flow, hatha yoga style. Maybe vinyasa. I'll think about that. I'm trying to set up a group for encouraging people who have recently received a diagnosis of breast cancer. Today, someone asked, can I do something for people who are supporting those who have breast cancer? I certainly can. Self-care is definitely needed. Mindfulness as well. Okay, well, may you be very mindful today. Mindfulness is my practice as well. Mindfulness about what I'm saying, not necessarily how I'm saying, but what I'm saying. Like, do I really want to say that? Do I really need to say that? Or is it something that can be moved on from? That's my spiritual practice every day. Because I find so many things to talk about. I find so many perspectives, and I really like to talk when I talk. When I talk, it's because I got something to say. I don't walk around just talking just for, some people like to talk, they like small talk. I don't walk around doing that. So if I have something to say, it's really a lot. And so I have to decide, do I really want to say that? That's self-care too. So I'm just sharing with you part of my personal practice. We're all practicing. We're all evolving. We're all healing and becoming the next version of ourselves. All right, so I'm going to go because I could talk for more time and then just run behind. See, I could overspend time here. I don't want to do that. Although I appreciate y'all so much. Follow me on YouTube, please. Follow me on Instagram. Get on my broadcast channel on Instagram. If you need coaching, sign up for one-on-one coaching on my website, veronicamarie.com. And that's it. Have a good day, y'all.